Well, I'm so excited to be here, Sherry and I both. Our grandson Tristan isn't happy today because he's had to have a couple of surgeries. He had to have surgery on his mouth Friday, and so he really can't go anywhere. It was pretty extensive, and then he started playing rugby post high school, and he tore a couple of his ligaments in his knee, so he has to have surgery next week. So anyway, he's 20, feeling invincible, and has just got a message. Wait a minute. But anyway, we are glad to be here, and we want you to see what. Is there any way to turn these lights down here, at least underneath here, just to get a little more focus on the slides? I appreciate that so much, Nathan. Thank you. That'd be great. Well, thank you. No, but thank you. It helps. I appreciate it, Nathan, so much. So, you know, this relationship that we have with this church is so special. It has been from the Caribbean, all the way now to Africa. We will be 18. We begin our 18th year next in February. And so you've been with us all the way, and I want to thank you. So what I share with you today, as I always say when I come here, but I think it's worth repeating and emphasizing, is that, you are part of this partnership, and it has taken off and continues to grow. And so before I get into that, let me just share with you at Elephants Love Oranges. And there is a place at the border of South Africa and Zimbabwe where this family, 3 generations, have these orchards. Now, when I say they've got orange trees, I mean they've got over 1,000 acres. And they're just about to bring another 1,000 acres online, as it were. But it's in a wildlife area. And the elephants have discovered the oranges too. So what do? You don't go shoo, get away, the herd of elephant. So on their property is a small canyon. And so what they've decided is they'll pick the grade A oranges every day. And by the way, they'll ship about 20,000 boxes a day all over the world. And then the grade B and on down are put into these trucks, and they drive them to this canyon and dump them. And those elephants have decided, I think that's the place to be. And so they've left the trees alone, and they have come there. So what you can do, and I can do when we're there, if given the opportunity, which we have seized, a few of us guys, they've got a place for you to spend the night. And so you can go have supper there, and you can sit above the canyon. And as they serve you, you can witness the elephants. And they come by the hundreds. And all other kinds of wildlife there too. Eland, the largest antelope in Africa, and kudu and baboons. And so it's quite a spectacle. So maybe next time some of you come, we might even visit there. This is where we are in our good works. You can see 147 wells have been drilled. In 17 years, over 410,000 people now are receiving clean water, and the countries that we're drilling in, you can see the congregations that have been planted from those wells, and of course that's a fluid situation. Micro businesses get started, and of course, as we all know, because we are familiar with it, that girls can get educated, because it's girls that go get the water in Africa. And once you start putting wells in those villages, then they don't have to spend their days going to get water. So there's a lot of amazing benefits that come from the wells. So and all these good works, I can just look at you all. I mean, I know there's other people that help us, but you all have been a part of every part of this, every segment. And I am so thankful for that. As you know, we do not drill a well unless there's 90% probability. So there are some places where we will go and we will not drill. And it's just the way it is, because we know the water won't last. but we drill wells purposefully, either where we are going to plant a church or where churches have already been planted. And we have got 3 wells right now that are in the process. I haven't counted them, that are being looked at and drilled and prepared and whatever at different stages. This is one of the latest wells we drilled in Zambia. The deputy head there, the school had no water. They were walking, I guess roughly about a mile round trip, and the kids and staff and all of that to go get water for the school every day. And so just let me remind you, when you drill a water well, there's all kinds of great things that happens I've just mentioned, but on a spiritual level, then you are invited into the school. When you do this, then you ask them, could we teach the Bible here? And that's a green light. And so the deputy principal there, Piri, she obeyed the gospel about 3 months later. Now the deputy head principal obeys the gospel. Children are getting Bible classes every day. I mean once a week, sorry. Then, things happen. And so a church gets planted. And the school says you can use one of our classrooms until you get a building of your own. And the chief in the area says, got some land here. Well, could we get some land? And it's given. So you see the domino effect in a very positive way. So what happens when you drill a well? Well, then drip irrigation comes. And not for all, but for a lot of wells. And then after drip irrigation, you get gardens like this that I'm sure around June and July, there was many of them here in Georgia. But this is all year round, by the way, as long as your wells are pumping, because the weather is 9 months summer, 3 months early spring. They say winter, but it's like our early spring. But you can grow, you can grow all year round. So they can feed their families, they can begin micro businesses. All the options are there. And then you've got our clinic, and then with our clinic, which is a free clinic, you can fund that, and that's 2 crops a year, about 18,000 tomato plants, so it's quite amazing. And just remember, they don't get rain all year round, and so there's a drought period where suppliers of tomatoes to wholesalers will diminish, and that's where we come in very strong, because we still growing our tomatoes because we still got water, and to be able to treat sick people every day, and it's free. You think of the impact that makes, as well as for opportunities of sharing Jesus. And I'll say it again, as you've heard me say it many times, the end game is that they know living water and not just enjoy physical water. So we have the ACT project. It was quite a hiccup during COVID. In fact, there was a couple of years we couldn't ship anything. But now this year we've done 3 already. In fact, we've done 1 to the Caribbean. Sherry and I were missionaries in the Caribbean when our children were very young. And so we are familiar with the hurricanes, lived through hurricanes. So they get hit and they need help, and because we know them, so we shipped 1 to the island of Dominica, and then we've shipped 2 to Eswatini, which was Swaziland. We shipped 1, and then we've just had another one arrive. So this is the one being unloaded on the island of Dominica. Included not only clothes, but I think we shipped them about 1,000 Bibles from Apologetics Press, who have given us over 5,000 and are about to give us another 6,000 or 7,000 added to the study Bibles they have. And I don't know if any of you might be, I'm not sure you're familiar with Apologetics Press, but Carl, but they have put together something tremendous. That finished product, the Bible, I'm talking about the cover and the pages and all that. If there was such a thing as Lifeway books that you could go to and shop, that Bible will probably be about $70 or $80. And the study Bibles would be well over that, $120, $130 probably now in today's economy. So, I mean, they're really quality Bibles, and I am so thankful that he's willing to, to do that, and it's quite amazing. Them unloading in the church building there in Portsmouth, Dominica. That's our latest container that just arrived in Swaziland, and Brother Begi Mamba is the minister there. They have 3 elders. Begi is one, who's the minister. Then they have a native Swazi from the mountains, and then they have an Englishman from London, and he's a doctor there. But they do a tremendous work. But it's quite it's just a great example of how, when you're embraced by Christ, we all loved and we all cared the same, and it's great. So that's South Africa, Cape Town, where we were delivering clothes during the winter months. We also have the Mom Project. You all have been a part of that. Some of you individuals have given to Sherry and I, when we've left and said, please put this towards the Mom Project. And it goes a long way, and we appreciate that. That boy, and he's not the only one, he's not, he comes to the feeding where Mto Sabanda, some of you know Mto, at Palandaba. He comes in with his grandmother, and he's only wearing underpants. That's all he's got. And so we get him the shoes, the pants. It's June, okay, so it's winter there. The season's opposite. We got him the jacket. He's watching me now. You can see he knows I'm taking the picture, but he's not going to look up. One reason maybe because he's shy, and the other reason because he's really enjoying his food and leave me alone, And he's got his toboggan, and he's got his food. Merry Christmas in June. And we're thankful. And just like all of our good works, the good that, the impact that it makes is just amazing. And, we're thankful. And that's some of the group feeding there. I just wanted to show you the green bars, because when they go home, sometimes we will give them these green bars. It is really a bar of soap. And that bar of soap, now remember, they're coming from mud huts, so they have no running water at their house. They have no heat at their house. They have, no power. And so, no washer and dryer, that sort of stuff. That green bar washes their dishes, washes their clothes, and washes their body. So it's a 3-in-1. This is what it was like in Maribiland. I do want you to know that El Nino, that big weather system, sat in the center of Africa during the rainy season and did not move, and prevented rains from coming down to southern Africa, normal rains. So some parts of Maribiland and parts of Zimbabwe, including Maribiland and Zambia, experienced the worst drought in 100 years. So crops were planted and never realized the food from that. So we have Partners for Africa, with your help, have kept 800 families alive the last 3 months. We're praying for the rains to come. They've started getting a few showers, but nothing substantial. But we really want that to come. But those families would have died for sure, many of them. And so we were just taking trucks and, all things like that. So anyway, this is our 3 grandsons. Tristan, as you can recognize him there. And for some of you, Tristan is now working with us. Well, he's committed to us full time, but he's getting his education also. So he's going to Heritage Christian University, seeking a Bible degree. I'm not giving the right title to the degree you get, but it's within that area. And then the second thing is he also wants to get a business degree, but he's really sad that he couldn't come today, as I said, and we leave day after Thanksgiving for Africa, and he is really sad about that. But he won't be able to go because he has to have that. So, but anyway, Dakota, his brother, is in the middle of the 3 boys. And he comes every year. And then Boston, who is our son Lee, that's his son. And they come and they just do a great job. And they were helping distribute food this summer. That's Tristan when he was a little boy. I just want to throw that up. Do you know that when he was that age, he was coming to Africa, as you can see, and he was traveling with me to load boxes? You know, I mean, that little boy would try to, I said, no, just stick with the clothes, leave the box of books alone. You know? But he would try, and so he's had this, this passion. And so it wasn't unusual when he came, we got a call. Sherry and I were in Africa, and we got a call from him, and he had graduated, and he had got he was on a management track with a brick company, and he was really excited about it. I don't know if I told this story maybe to you already, but he played football, and they did really well, and so there was a guy there, a good friend of his, who plays for Kentucky right now as a lineman. But his father had this company, and his father said, Tristan, he just liked Tristan and his character. He says, I'll put you on a management track, but I want you to learn the business. So he calls me, so this is August, and then he calls me, calls Sherry and I in December, and he says, Granddaddy, I want you to know that Cody's father kept every promise that he said that he had made. But he said, I tell you, I just want to do Partners for Africa. So anyway, great about that. That's some of the rural areas. So we urban, rural. This is us in Zambia, and that's Haley, of course. And we're about to unload. Now, the reason I wanted to show you this next picture is because these people haven't eaten for 2 or 3 days. Okay, and we pull this truck up. It is laden. I mean, we got hundreds and hundreds, and we got another truck coming. Okay, and they just sat there. They did not move. Nobody rushed the truck, including children, teenagers. They just sat there. And I'll tell you why. Because the home in Africa is still so solid. I mean, they know about integrity. They know about respect. They know about putting the elderly first, because the elderly have set the example. Do you know that when a lady becomes a grandmother in southern Africa, particularly, she is then served by her daughter-in-laws and her daughters. You know, now it's not I'm not trying to say cultures are different, but all I'm telling you is that just amazes me when you pull up and these people are so hungry and yet they'll just wait till their name's called. That's an elderly home we went to. We gave them more than just cornmeal and rice and beans. We gave them some biscuits and tea. Those ladies, they love their hot tea, especially in winter, of course. So you can see them all covered up. This was around July, and that's kind of the peak of winter. Now, you say, how cold does it get? Well, in the nights, it will get into the lower 40s, upper 30s. But in the daytime, it'll get up to 70. But just remember, they have no heat. So when it gets to 40 at night in their rooms and that, it's cold. This is a soup kitchen that we have sponsored the last 3 years now in Cape Town, South Africa. And just to let you know, Cape Town is a city of 4.5 million people. And so the inner cities, they've got some serious inner cities with gangs. And we work with the East Ridge Church of Christ, who are right in Mitchell's Plain. And you just can Google about Mitchell's Plain, and you will find out the gangs that are there. And that church has made it clear, we're not going anywhere. We're staying right here. And so we help them as much as we can. We did a seminar there a year ago, and more than a year ago. So 2 years ago. And Theo, so we started the morning, went all the way down to 4 o'clock, and Theo says, Dorian, you need to leave. You don't want to be here at night. so we left. Evangelism, so all these good works leads to the sharing of the word, and that's primary, of course, in our work. And so this brand new church we just planted at Kapandwe, Zambia. Also, that day they had 13 baptisms. And this was just about, I'd say about 3 months ago. So as of now, in 17 years, we've planted 104 congregations. We've got several more for next year that we are planning, places to plant. And so thankful. That is Brother Charles Peary, one of the really fine, seasoned, mature preachers, and a great leader and a maturer of young men. This is something that has evolved over time, but it's became a full-fledged ministry now with Partners for Africa. We recognized and we helped in sporadic ways people, especially in rural areas they have no funds, and when a loved one dies, basically just wrap them up in a sheet and dig a hole and put the body in there. And so the system with Zimbabwe and with much of Southern Africa is when someone dies, especially in rural, people will come, relatives will walk from other villages. And sometimes it'll take a few hours, sometimes it'll take a half a day. So when they get there, they will stay 2 to 3 days with the family. Well, the family's filled with poverty, the people are there. So what we do, if a loved one has passed away, we will, Haley and others will get a truck, drive out there, take the body if it needs to go to the morgue, bring the body back. While that's happening, we will build a coffin. We will bring food in. If they want us to help with the funeral, we will. If they need counselors, we'll provide counselors. But this has now become a full-fledged ministry. And when we were given the Great Commission, method wasn't specified. How do you reach your community? How do you reach people? And constantly think of ways of how to do that. And man, that's a great connection. So anyway, The Truth Be Told is a high school book for it's different ages of that area of life by Apologetics Press, and we've probably, I guess, there's been over 20,000 that we've put into government schools, and it's all about the origin, that this world wasn't an accident, and we have an intelligent designer and who he is. So we're thankful. Those are some of the Bibles that we distribute. This was a family that was converted. This was a church that received Bibles that didn't have any on the island of Dominica. This is a university student who, by the way, 3 days ago just lost his father, and but he has been so interested in studying the Bible, and so he brought some of his friends over, and we had sessions, and he obeyed the gospel. And this was probably about a little over a year ago, and I'm just so thankful for the catalyst that he has been. So when we go back now in right after Thanksgiving, Mike Houts, some of you might be aware of him, but Mike is a nuclear physicist. He's a deacon at the Madison Church of Christ. He's coming with us, and he's going to be teaching at the University of Cape Town and teaching also at the Science and Technology University in Bulawayo. So thankful. This is government schools in Dominica that receive Bibles, that now we have Bible study. This is the youth. This is one of many youth groups that we have throughout Southern Africa. This one's in Zambia. This is a group of preachers that we are training in Zambia. I don't know if I shared the story with you last time I was here, but we were delivering food, and this brother came to us and said, he said, I want you to come see my church building. Well, he wasn't meaning it like he owned it. He was just so proud of what the brethren had done. And he said, come. So we walked in, and he explained the walls that they built. Now, they all built it out of a kiln after we had drilled a well, okay? Made their bricks. And he said, look at my pulpit. And they had surprised him with making him a pulpit, But he said, it's not the pulpit so much. He said, oh, I love that. He said, but we've been sitting on the ground for the last 2 years, and now we have pews. I thought, wow, so man, we go to church this morning for sure. We don't just sit on the ground. We got pews, So that's where we are as far right up until now. Of course, the year is not over, but 953 baptisms, and we planted 5 churches this year. Elderships, we're glad that we've appointed 2 more elderships, and 32 leadership seminars, youth camps. And let me just tell you, that's what Tristan's going to be doing. We're going to begin a whole ministry of youth, directed towards youth. We're going to have youth encampments, youth lectureships and all of that throughout Southern Africa, and he's going to be leading that. Just wanted to show you a couple of gatherings that we had. So this was at the Nkulamani Church of Christ. We had about 800. And then out at our school, we had, Now, if you listen to my report, or if you read my report online, you'd see that I said 1,000, okay? The official count was 998. And I told them when they came to me and said that, I said there is no such number with preachers, especially if it's attendance drive. I said, because God knows of at least 5 women that are pregnant right now that you don't know of. So I want you to know, official count was 998, but I rounded it up to 1,000. But they didn't count the cooks. So I think we're over. That they didn't, so I know that. But that was that was rural. They came from everywhere. We were actually presenting the school to the Churches of Christ in Matabeleland. And they walked, got buses, came, We killed 2 cows. And I mean, the amount of mealie meal we served, and there was food left over, and people took some food home. And I said, boy, well, maybe not the feeding of the 5,000, but I tell you what, we're going down that track, it was great. And those women, they cooked over fires, no commercial, I mean, 1,000 people, and everybody was fed with pots that were cooked on fires. I mean, just blows my mind still. Leadership training continues with Brother Valapi. There are a lot of other men. And I know Nkosi and Katie do a tremendous work, and I know you hear from them. So I want you to know this, the work in Zimbabwe is fantastic because of what they're doing also. And the churches they planting, the maturing that they're doing, it's all great, We're all working for the glory of God. Our radio program I have in Zambia that also reaches across to Zimbabwe. We had 45 to obey the gospel this year. And we are thankful for those guys that prepare every week. This is our school. 3 classroom wings when you guys were there last. That you saw, it wasn't quite finished when you were there. We had a few other things to do, like bring in the gas so they could do the experiments, but it's fully completed now. That's our 4th classroom wing. And we just finished that this summer. You can see, just to remind you by a visual, that we have solar power. The school is off the grid, okay? And the solar power that we installed when we first built the faculty's housing to now is unbelievable. That solar system that we have in that 2 classroom block, it can serve the whole school. I mean, it doesn't, but it can, because of how the power has changed. And so one of the classrooms is our computer lab. Now, I want you to get a little picture. Children come from the morning. They have to leave at 6 o'clock, okay? And now they come at 6 o'clock. Here they come, walking to school, about an hour they walk. And they have left a house that has no power, no running water, certainly no internet, Wi-Fi, nothing like that, And then they come to their school and they get on the laptop. Now, that picture was taken when those kids, for the first time in their lives, touched the laptop. That's why they smile on that face. They couldn't believe it. And it came out of the class and said, they said, Brother Flynn, I can type. That was quite something. We had a lady, Ginger, who came from Huntington, Tennessee, and when she came 2 years ago, she said, well, if you build a building, I want to make this happen. And so she's teaching them, and if you had to blow up that picture, this is how you turn on a computer, that would be the first lesson. We were at the Glasgow Church of Christ in Kentucky, Glasgow, Kentucky, South Green Street. Some of you might know Bart Warren. He's been a good friend of mine for many years. That church there raised money for our first van, and we were very excited to get that. We were thankful for that, and those guys, the school was so happy to have their own transport. Then we finished the sports building. For some of you that were there last time, maybe we had started it, but it's completed now. And it has all the showers for sporting events, but it also has our gym. And when I mean gym, I'm not talking about basketball. I'm talking about our weight gym. And we've got guys that are going to come from, that have never lifted weights and have probably had less than a meal a day. We're going to give them protein and get them pumped up. Okay. I wanted to show you this project, and then I'll be through. And if there's any questions, this is a solar-powered well, which we have drilled before. But what's special about this well is there's gold mining in the area where Amazon Christian Academy is. And these miners, they're mom and pop operations, sometimes not very safe, sometimes they are. They drill, they dig in all these new shafts. And they said it's starting to fill up with water. Could you use the water? Oh man, yes. So what we did, it's 1.6 miles. We dropped pumps down into these shafts, and with solar power, we built this 37,000 gallon tank on our school property, and we pump the water there, and then that takes that around to the different buildings, because our school is going to be a boarding school once we have our first graduating class, which is this coming year. Then we need to have plenty water. And so although we've drilled wells, we still needed more water. So we are glad for that. The emphasis of the school is, yes, academically we want to be excellent, and physically and psychologically, but it's above all spiritually. And do you know that the first year of our school, we baptized nobody? Because when we came there, they really didn't know who we were. And they've started understanding who we were, and we developed a relationship with parents and community. And I'm telling you, the last 2 years, it's just amazing what's happened. That is a common occurrence on a weekly basis. Somebody wants to be baptized. In fact, we baptized the 4 last week. So we are thankful. And we're glad Brother Simon, that's Brother Simon Malungani, he's the minister that preaches on the campus there. And these are 2 of our students. They are seniors, and they've won it more than once, but we wanted to emphasize spirituality, and the only scholarships that we give right now is Bible scholarships, and one for the top girl and one for the top boy. And so they get that, and they are the current winners. And so the next term or semester they get free, and the parents are happy about that too. So, any questions? I don't know what the time is. Yeah. Okay, so I could take 2 or 3 questions.
Dorian, this group here,
yes.
Most of them did a lot of the packing in the banana boxes.
Oh my. Thank you, man. And I appreciate the notes that you are taking. I know that you're taking notes and what we are doing. It's amazing. And hopefully keep the dream alive that maybe you as a group can come to Africa one year. It'll be wonderful. Wonderful.
What's the tuition for your school? How does that work?
Okay, so the top student for the last term in Bible, top girl and top boy, then they get the next term free tuition. And that's the scholarship. So although they can win the scholarship for a term, others can also jump in, every term and do that. We will add other scholarships, math and science and that in time, but not right now.
What is your tuition for a year for a child?
When what?
What is your tuition for a year?
Okay, so right now tuition is, let me think, we just put it up, $155 a term. So that's 155 times 3, and very reasonable. And let me say this too, we are a private school, but the government requires, whether you're private or whether you're government, you have to charge school fees. And so that's a requirement. So we've kept ours low. Now we will move from a day scholars and to not only day scholars but boarders from other countries and other parts of Zimbabwe in probably about 2 years. And they will definitely pay more. But we will not increase the school fees. Now they'll have accommodation, boarding and all that sort of thing. We want the day scholars that come from these poor villages always to be able to come to our school. Always, I mean, for the parents, that it's reachable for them. So we're going to do that. Now, I want you to know also that while we are making plans for that, we've also got plans for opening up a university there too. Now, I just got back from Tanzania and Kenya. There is a good friend of mine that served as an elder. In fact, he was at Harding when Alan and I were there, Danny Smelser. Danny and his wife, Nancy, he's a medical doctor and she got a PhD in nursing. They opened up a high school in Tanzania near Kilimanjaro called Alpha Omega. Now, they asked me to come and see the school and speak at the graduation and all that. But during that time, we also have laid, not definite plans yet, but we are going that way, is to have a unified school, high school system, for lack of a word, of the Churches of Christ through Africa. So Tanzania has one, we've got one, and we've just been given 100 acres by a chief in Zambia for a school. And so we are looking at building a high school there too. So you can go from Zimbabwe. Well, there's Zimbabwe, Zambia, and then Tanzania. And then Zimbabwe will have the university where those students can come. Also, there is a school by the East Ridge Church of Christ in Cape Town that are also looking to finish their high school. So we will, I mean, for some of us, we'll probably be gone if the Lord tarries, we'll be gone. But I mean, we are setting up something that I think will really be tremendous for our fellowship in the decades to come. But just remember, some of this started in a Partners for Africa bedroom years ago. We walked some land and we said, let's see if we can get a school done. The school is done. Then another couple is finishing their school, and in the meantime, it's how the Lord works. You know, you surrender and you say, God, it's for your glory, not for, so. Anything else? Yes?
I know it's a private school. It's a financial aid for children that want to come but can't afford it?
No. And it is something down the line that we'll look at. But I'm sure we'll set up, because others have inquired, some sort of scholarship fund. We will set that up. But when you begin a school, you just want to, like we just started with 25 boys and 25 girls, and we've done it, and we're going to do it until our graduating class, just to keep everything small, get us running well, and then go to people and say, basically, we're trying to answer every question that could be asked us. So try to get that done. Yeah.
Y'all ever have any conflict with Islam?
Not where we are. Now, Kenya is a different, when you get to Central Africa and go north, but Southern Africa, Islam is there. In fact, my father, who lived to be 97, grew up in a mixed neighborhood with Muslims and Christians in Cape Town. But it was people that had already made it quite clear, we're here just to live with each other. We're not on any agenda. But that's not true with what I would term radical Islam in Central and Northern. But let me just say this about the young people online in Southern Africa. There's constant communication going on amongst the young people in Northern Africa and Southern Africa, and they let them know, we're not interested in what you've got to sell here, so don't come. So to answer your question, no, we don't have any problems. No. Okay, I'll take one more here.
There is a public education.
There is what?
There is public education.
Yes. But what there is public education. However, the government's not building new schools because the government doesn't have any money. If they are building new schools, it'll probably be in areas where there's government ministers where they funnel their funds. But when we built our high school, there is no government high school and never has been, and there's no plans to have one. So out of the 5 primary schools, we get whoever qualifies. Thank you for your partnership, man. We love you dearly, and we'd like for you to come and drive on the left-hand side of the road.